We're excited to have our next Lion legend join us. Chloe Richards joins us from Las Vegas, Nevada, a member of the UNA soccer program from 2012 to 2015. She scored 71 career goals at North Alabama, second most in program history, third most all-time in Gulf South Conference history. An All-American and an academic All-American, two-time National Player of the Year, two-time Gulf South Conference Player of the Year. Chloe Richards, thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you for having me, Ben. Nice to see some UNA faces again.
So let's tell people first off what you're doing now and where you're currently sitting for this interview.
So obviously I live in Henderson, Nevada, just outside Las Vegas, and I currently work for Henderson Fire Department. So I'm currently sat in the back of a ambulance because I'm on duty currently, so trying to get some good lighting back here.
We certainly appreciate what you're doing now. And as we jump into this interview, we're going to talk about how you got into this field. But as we like to start all these interviews, as you look back at the University of North Alabama, your time on campus playing soccer, the university as a whole, what does it mean to Chloe Richards?
A lot, yeah. Just to think that it was just kind of by a spur of the moment decision that I wanted to come out to America to play soccer and to end up at UNA. It just all seemed to fit. It still is the best 4 years I've had in my life. Just the university, Florence, the town, everything about it was just perfect. And I still to this day tell everyone, they're like, where have you lived before this? And I was like, Florence, Alabama. They just can't believe it. Obviously being in Las Vegas, the South, far from here in a different world. And I just tell everyone, no, it's, I loved every second of it. And people are so surprised. So I can't speak highly enough of the town and the university.
Let's go back to your time in England, growing up there. Cornwall, England, where you're from. What was it like for you growing up? What role did soccer play in your life?
Growing up, yeah, I'm from a really small part of the country in England that is actually more of a touristy area. Cornwall's beach is a very touristy, small fishing village. So it was great. I love growing up there near the ocean, near the sea. Spent a lot of time at the beach. Soccer for me, my family, my dad, my granddad all played soccer, so it seemed natural, and just loved it from the moment I started, and just committed to it as much as I could, and it created some good opportunities for me.
You mentioned it was sort of a spur of the moment decision to come to America and play soccer. Did you, I guess, take us through that? When did you start thinking you could come over? What was the recruitment process like?
So originally, I knew a few friends that had come out, and it never appealed to me. When I left, we leave school at 16 in England, and when I first decided to leave, I got offers from Chelsea to go up to London, and then ended up going to Bristol because I wanted to do more academic side of it, and Chelsea wouldn't allow that, and not enjoying it living in Bristol and not enjoying the whole kind of atmosphere. I decided to move home and focus on my studies, and from there it was like, well, I want to play soccer. What's my next option? And America seemed the better option for me, because I knew I wouldn't be able to play in university in England because that's just not the setup they have. So I was like, well, why not give this a go? And I'd played with Chloe growing up, Chloe Roberts, and I knew she was here. And then Ellis Hillman, I also played with growing up. We're all from the kind of same area of the country, which is a funny coincidence. So kind of getting into contact with Graham and talking through that, it just, it gave me comfort knowing that I knew two people that had come from the same area of the country I had and were having a great time and really enjoying it. So having a lot of conversations with Ellis really kind of made me confident that that's where I wanted to be.
So Graham Winkworth recruits you, and as you come over, you kind of just touched on this. There are several players from England, Ellis Hillman, Chloe Roberts that you mentioned, Nikki Brown, Joe Chubb, the Osmonds as well. How much better did they make that transition for you from England to America?
A lot, yeah. It definitely made a big difference. Like I said, like me and Ellis, I think FaceTime like 2 or 3 times while it was her freshman year and before I was coming out, just so I had a really good idea. But coming into a team that I think my freshman year, it was like we had like 12 more English players than we did American players. Made it a lot easier. Everyone was going through the same thing. And my freshman class, there was 3 of us, me, Mel, and Tony were all from England. So going through that, and I had Mel through my whole 4 years. So it's just nice having someone that is experiencing the same thing you are and the same kind of transitions.
What was it like the first time you came to campus? I'm assuming you didn't get to come here on your recruitment.
No, it's funny. I loved it. I'm very much a homebody, and as I said, I didn't really enjoy living in Bristol, so moved back home. But as soon as I kind of got here, or got to Alabama, got to Florence, it just felt natural. Everything felt right. I was excited. I wasn't. My mum had came out with me to help me kind of move in and everything, and it was just. I loved it. As soon as I got here, I loved everything about it. And that was my first experience of America. So Florence, Alabama was the first experience I had of the country, and I loved it. So yeah, it was an easy transition for me.
Your first year at North Alabama, you scored 10 goals, and that team featured a very strong senior class. You played that first year with Chloe Roberts, the all-time leading goal scorer in school history. Your first year, the 10 goals, what was it like playing with that group?
It was good. You know, it took me a while. Like I say, my transition was easy, and it was. But my soccer transition was a little bit slower for me. Like some people would say that was a good freshman year, but for me, you know, looking back, it was a little bit disappointing. Just transitioning into a team that I feel like was pretty established, you know, it was difficult, but I was grateful to be able to get on the field and play with them. And I would still to this day think we could have been way more successful that year than we were. But the conference was also very strong. West Florida, very good, very, very good team that year. And it was different. It was kind of, for me, getting used to the American way more physical game than the English European game, which is way more skillful. So just kind of getting into that transition and learning to play with players that were very established as a team was a big growing kind of period for me.
All right, so 10 goals that first year, 72 in your career, second most in school history, third most all time in the Gulf South Conference that you used to play in. Do you remember your first goal at North Alabama?
I do not. Oh, that's bad. I don't remember my first goal. Honestly, my freshman year, is a blur to me. I remember my junior year and my senior year very, very well. But for some reason, my freshman year, I think it's just so much going on for me. I was young, new city, new place, new team, new culture. There was a lot going on for me that year. So actually, I do not remember my first goal.
So we'll jump into some other goals that you scored as well. But sophomore year, Chris Walker takes over as the head coach. 5 goals, 6 assists for you in year number 2 in 2013. Second go around, Coach Walker taking over. What was that year like?
My sophomore year. Not a great year for me. I ended up getting a concussion a little way through the year. That put me out for a little bit. And then I was out for a few more games. So I didn't play too many games that year. And for us as a team, it was a transition. Chris coming in, learning what we needed to do as a team. We didn't do too bad. But it was nice to get Chris in, get some fresh ideas, fresh faces in. And that was kind of like a transition year I felt for the team. And that's really where I was like, I just felt like the next 2 years we really had something going and that was going to be successful, which really was a turning point for me personally, which progressed, into the next 2.
So let's jump into your junior season. You exploded onto the national landscape, 26 goals. You had 15 your first 2 years. All right, what changed for you? What started clicking there in year 3?
I think I just realized, my sophomore year especially, after being out injured and other things, that I was underperforming. I knew I had more, and I knew I only had 2 years left. And as everyone would say, those 4 years, they go so quick. And especially the seasons, they go so quick, and you only have those 4. So I was like, I'm not making the most of it. I need to work harder, and I need to give everything I've got. So it was after my sophomore season, I sat down with Chris McBride, and I was like, look, this spring I want to do everything I can. So when I come in next fall, I've done the most I can, and I'm going to be successful. So that's what I did. He gave me a plan. I was in the gym, running every day. I was getting touches on the ball every day in England. I didn't miss a session. So that spring, I was always out on the field. That's anytime I had, my whole week was planned from session to session, 2-3 sessions a day. So that's what it was. It's just a lot of hard work that ended up paying off.
It certainly did pay off. I'm going to run down some of the accolades from your junior year. First team All-Gulf South Conference, Gulf South Conference Player of the Year, first team All-Region, Daktronics South Region Player of the Year. You were an All-American, Daktronics Division II National Player of the Year, Alabama Sports Writers Association State Small College Athlete of the Year. Then you led all of Division II in goals scored with 26, total points 57, goals per game 1.4, points per game 3.0. Now looking back at those accolades, the hard work, how good does it feel now to see all of it pay off?
Oh, yeah, immensely. And for me, I was more proud because I was like, look, this just proves like it is just hard work. Hard work pays off in all situations. For me, it was like, great, like I've done this. This has only been a spring, and this is what I've been able to propel myself towards. Like, I was just kind of thinking, now what if I double that this spring? Like, imagine what next year could be like, and how much better I could improve as a player, and how much, you know, I can contribute to the team. So for me, it was just really, really nice to see a lot of hard hours of work kind of pay off.
So after your junior year, you're getting ready for your senior year. We'll talk about how great that final year was, but were you feeling any pressure at all, given all the success you had as a junior, living up to the expectations again?
A little bit, but it was more that like my first year I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 1,500 touches every day. Like that was the amount. I was on my own, especially in England, like just have a ball, have some cones, 1,500 touches. So it's like, okay, well, this year let's do 3,000. Let's double it because, you know, extra work. And it was kind of pressure, but it was like more excitement. Okay, if I double it, what can I do this year? And I had a conversation with Chris McBride at the end of the season. He was like, look, I need you to know, like, you're not going to go and score another 26 goals this year. That you're going to be heavily marked. They're going to double team you. They're going to triple team you because they're going to know. So like, expect to get more assists this year. Like, I need you to accept that. And I was kind of like, you know, I'm not sure. And everything Chris McBride said to me, I took well. I really trusted him. He helped me a lot. And I was like, okay, like I get what you're saying, but I'm going to do what I can to put myself in the best position. So it was funny having those conversations.
Well, he was right. You didn't score 26 goals that year. You actually scored 30 that season. Again, you led all of Division II. Again, Gulf South Conference Player of the Year, National Player of the Year as well. Again, your senior year, echoing that hard work, knowing there's more attention. How good did it feel to pull it all off?
Oh, great. It was awesome to walk it. It was just like a challenge, like going into a game, and it was like, okay, you know, they're going to put 2 players on you. That leaves someone else open. Like, here's the opportunity. And that was, you know, it's the game plan. Okay, so Chloe's going to have these 2 players on her. Let's expose these open areas. And I was like, yeah, great. But I also wanted the challenge of, okay, I've got 2 players on me. I still want to score 2 or 3 goals. And that was every game for me. Like, how do I work around the system and still get myself opportunities? And that was what I found fun. And it got harder, but got even more fun just through doing that and just working harder as well.
So you had all those individual accolades, but you had not won the team goal of a Gulf South Conference championship yet. How focused was that team that season on winning that GSC championship?
Hugely. And for me, like all along, the training that I put in to score goals was because I wanted to win that Gulf South Conference championship. Like going to the tournament every year and feeling the heartbreak of getting knocked out in the semifinals or whatever. It was just like, I want to win it before I graduate. And there's a lot of players here that I know want the same thing. So that was the whole focus all year. I just felt we were all very focused on working hard for that one common goal. So that made a big difference for us throughout the season, just really focusing on that.
So you guys hosted the Gulf South Conference tournament. First game against West Alabama, a 1-0 win. You scored the only goal in that one. Do you remember that goal?
Do you remember that goal? Yeah, I remember that night a lot. We were very lucky to be hosting it that's the first year it kind of moved out of West Florida and to Pensacola. So like that was exciting for us, and it just felt like everything was coming together. Like to be able to host it, and we knew we were going to have 2 really tough games with West Al and Lee. So yeah, I remember that goal. I remember that celebration. There's a picture as well from that celebration, which is fun to look back and see.
So that set up the championship match against Lee. You would win that one in shootout. First off, let's talk about everything with this match. The crowd. What do you remember about the turnout on that ball game?
Oh, amazing. Like I couldn't have wished for, like if looking back, like a better Gulf South Conference final. Like now I'm so glad we didn't win my freshman, sophomore. Like if I only won one, I wanted that to be it. Like it was perfect. Like it was fate. Like to have everyone out there it was awesome. And that's why I've always loved Florence, is that everyone comes together so well for the university, for the sports, and the support we got from the football team, the basketball teams, everyone, the support was, it made the atmosphere, it made the game. And going back and watching that video is my favorite thing to do, because seeing those penalty kicks and seeing the excitement and everybody else on the sideline was what made that game, like, yeah, an awesome game.
A scoreless go at it in regulation and overtime to set up the penalty kicks at the end. How tense was that ball game as the game kept progressing?
Oh, horribly. We knew going in that Lee, all season we'd had really tough games against Lee. They'd been super close. They'd gone either one way or the other, but it just been by, like, someone had to make a mistake, because we were both so evenly matched and we were both so consistent that it was going to come down to someone making a mistake. And that day, no one was going to. So it was just like, oh, and penalty kicks, like, are the most anxious thing for me. When we were about to do them, I was more worried about everybody else. I was like, okay, let's make sure everybody else is calm and cool and ready to do this, because that's what gets people. It's not the technique of taking a penalty, it's the pressure of what it means.
So you went first in the shootout. The pressure, yeah. What were you feeling? How much relief was there when you sort of set the tone with the first kick?
A lot of relief, but again, like, I guess I was so worried and focused on everybody else that for me, I was just like, okay, I know, let's just go up and I'll do my PK. That's fine. Like, I'm not concerned about it. I know I'd practiced my PKs all season and been very, very consistent with them. So I wasn't worried about myself. I just really wanted to help everyone else and make sure, you know, they were ready. Because I knew our whole team, we had a great set of PK takers, and I knew they all had great technique, great talent. So I just wanted to make sure that their nerves were settling and they knew that they were fine either way what happened.
Shelby Thornton in net was most outstanding player of the tournament. The stories that I've heard, she worked with you a lot when you wanted to go out and get some extra work. What was it like for you seeing her with the spotlight on?
Oh, awesome. She did. Shelby was great. All year, anytime I was like, hey, I'm going to go out and shoot, she was there, no matter what. She, you know, and she'd happily take the hits all day. I practiced my PKs on her all the time. You know, Chris Walker would come out and he'd pat some penalties at her, and she just took it all day. Like, she never complained. And to see her go into that final and those PKs with such confidence in herself was awesome, because she deserved it. Like, she'd played so consistent all year and not necessarily got the attention from the Gulf South Conference, but she'd just been quietly consistent, and then it paid off in that shootout.
Stacey Weber with the final goal. What was that feeling like when you guys rushed the field?
Oh, awesome. As a lot of my teammates would say, and Chris, like, I'm not one to show much emotion, which was portrayed. I scored goals, I hit it to celebrate. I don't like it. So that was, for me, like, I showed a lot of emotion that day, because it's what we've always wanted. That's what you aim for, win the conference championship. And knowing I only had 1 year left and this was my last opportunity, it meant a lot to me.
So you wrap up playing, but I want to talk about one more thing. Your senior year, you accomplished the rare All-American double-double. National Player of the Year, led the nation in goals scored. You're an All-American for your play on the field, but you also picked up academic All-American honors, something only 11 athletes all-time at North Alabama have accomplished. So when you look down your long list of accolades, the academic All-American double-double, what was the balance like for you between the classroom and the playing field?
It was all right. For me, I like having a purpose, like having a focus, and it just it kept me very organized. Okay, I know I had to do this. When I wasn't playing soccer, I was working on my work, and when I wasn't doing that, I was on the field. So it didn't leave me much time to do anything else, which is fine. I like that structure and like that purpose. So, and it's nice. It's nice to have that, both of those All-Americans. And I was hoping to my senior year, that was a goal of mine, was to get the academic side of it as well. So it's nice to that side of it to pay off too.
So soccer didn't end for you after North Alabama. Take us through what was next.
So I left a little bit early, in around March of my senior year, to go to Germany. I was there for a little bit, and then ended up coming back to England for a little bit. Ended up with Reading. Was there for a little bit, and then after that, they had some issues with salary caps, and they were above it. So I ended up getting let go, which was, it was a good experience being there. So I ended up coming home for a little bit, and then ended up in Spain for a season. So I went out to Zaragoza, played in the top league in Spain, which was a good experience. Played out there, very hot. We played some good teams, played Barcelona, played some games like that. So I played that season, and after playing that season, it's a shock going from college to professional, because you almost get treated worse. In all truthfulness, in college we got treated very well, facilities wise, travel wise, and living wise. We get treated very well, and to go to some other countries that don't have the same standard of living, you just don't get treated as well. And like I said, I'm a homebody. I like to live somewhere and be comfortable, and living in a foreign language speaking country I'm not good at languages, wasn't comfortable for me, and it just wasn't. I didn't feel at home, and I didn't feel comfortable. So after one season there, I kind of decided, I did it. I wanted to play professional. I wanted to achieve that goal, and I did. And I think I'm okay with being done with it now. Wanted to, settle down and do something different. I feel like I'd achieved everything I wanted to achieve, and I was okay with that. So after that season in Spain, which was a couple of years ago, decided to be done, and was happy with that.
So you hang up the cleats, you looking for what's next. What was the path to becoming a firefighter?
I struggled a lot to know what to do. My whole identity and my whole life had been soccer for so long, and that's all I'd known what to do. I'd never thought anything after that. So I started coaching for a little bit. Here in Vegas, coached a local club team, and just thought I would like it, and I just didn't. Don't like the coaching side. I want to be on the field. I want to be playing. I want to be able to contribute. The coaching was just too frustrating for me. And I was just thinking about what I want to do. I want an active job. I can't sit down. I want something that's going to help contribute, and something that's different every day, which kind of led me to the fire service. Here in Henderson, they have a really good fire department. It's the only triple accredited department in the country. And it's great. The people that work here, meeting them and doing a ride along, I was like, yeah, do you know what, this job seems exactly what I want to do. And so just kind of took off from there.
So Chloe, from England to Florence, Alabama, now out to Henderson, Nevada, where you're a firefighter. Thank you for what you're doing now. Thank you for your time as a Lion legend, and thanks for reminiscing with us.
Thank you, and thank you guys for my time at UNA.